You are in bed with the lights off, your alarm set, and every sensible part of your brain begging you to put the phone down. Tomorrow has responsibilities. Your eyes are dry. Your neck hurts. You have already watched enough short videos to qualify for an honorary degree in absolutely nothing. Yet your thumb keeps moving. One clip explains why octopuses punch fish. Another shows a stranger reorganizing a refrigerator at midnight. Then you find a 10-part argument about whether cereal counts as soup. By the time you finally look at the clock, 3 hours have vanished, and your brain is full of facts that will never help you pay rent. We like to act as though modern technology invented bad sleep. It definitely made the problem easier. But the struggle with nighttime is ancient. Travel back 30 or 40,000 years, and darkness was not a cozy aesthetic. It was a survival problem. When the sun disappeared, the world did not become quieter and safer. It became less visible, while everything dangerous remained active. There were no lamps in the street, no hallway light, no glowing charger beside the bed. The night was not dim, it was complete blackness, the kind that erases the shape of your own body, and humans were not exactly designed as elite nocturnal predators. We have weak night vision. We do not have claws, armored skin, giant teeth, or ears that rotate toward every sound. We are not especially fast, especially strong, or especially quiet. A lone human in a dark prehistoric landscape was basically a nervous snack carrying a pointed stick. Outside, the sleeping area could be wolves, hyenas, big cats, snakes, insects, hostile strangers, or simply the unknown. A noise in the bushes might be nothing. It might also be the last sound you ever heard. So before early humans could relax, they needed to create a small island of safety. Their greatest nighttime tool was not a spear. It was fire. Controlled fire changed far more than dinner. It pushed back darkness. It warmed bodies. It dried damp clothing and bedding. It discouraged insects. It helped keep predators at a distance. It gave people a visible center around which the group could gather. In one glowing circle, fire worked as a heater, lamp, kitchen, alarm system, social hub, and psychological comfort device. That last part matters. Even now, people can sit beside a campfire and stare at it far longer than they would stare at almost anything else. Moving flames hold attention without demanding much thought. The sound, warmth, and light can slow the body down. Modern research has linked fireside experiences with relaxation and lower stress. Your brain may not consciously think the predators are staying away, but some ancient part of your nervous system understands that light, warmth, and company usually mean better odds of surviving the night. Fire also did something revolutionary. It extended the human day. Before reliable fire, sunset placed a hard limit on activity. Daylight was for the work that kept everyone alive. People searched for food, tracked animals, collected plants, repaired tools, moved camp, watched children, and solved immediate problems. There was little spare time for reflection, but around the fire, once the urgent work slowed down, people could do things that were not directly necessary and yet became essential to being human. They could joke, they could argue, they could teach, they could remember the dead. They could imitate animals, explain landmarks, share warnings, and turn ordinary events into stories. Many researchers believe nighttime conversation helped strengthen complex language, group identity, and culture. A good storyteller could make people laugh, frighten them, teach them, or persuade them. The person who could hold the group's attention had real social influence. In that sense, the earliest content creators did not need cameras, microphones, or editing software. They needed a fire, a dramatic pause, and an opening line like, "You are not going to believe what happened near the river." Eventually, however, the stories ended and people had to sleep. Sleeping was also probably a group activity rather than a private retreat behind a closed door. Bodies gathered near one another for warmth, protection, and awareness. Someone might remain awake while others rested. Children, older adults, and vulnerable members benefited from being surrounded by the group. Even the camp's dogs, once domestication began, may have added another layer of warning. Privacy was limited, but survival rarely cared about personal space. It is easy to imagine prehistoric humans dropping onto bare ground and accepting misery because they had no other choice. Archaeology suggests something much more thoughtful. Early people cared about where they slept, what touched their bodies, and how to reduce insects and cold. At Sibudu Cave in South Africa, researchers discovered evidence of plant bedding dating back tens of thousands of years. These sleeping surfaces were not random piles of grass. They were built in layers and maintained over time. Ash beneath the bedding may have helped with insulation and pest control. Grasses and reeds created a softer surface. Certain aromatic plants may have repelled insects. Think about the planning involved. Someone had to identify useful plants, collect them, carry them back, arrange them, and replace them when they became dirty. That is not primitive carelessness. That is prehistoric interior design with a strong emphasis on not being bitten all night. The cleaning method was aggressive but effective. Old bedding could be burned, destroying insects, waste, and accumulated debris before a new sleeping layer was prepared. No washing machine, no disinfectant spray. Just remove the problem with fire and rebuild the mattress. That even more surprising is that the way humans slept may have been different. From the single uninterrupted 8-hour block many people now consider ideal for much of history, especially before industrial schedules became dominant. People often describe sleep in two parts. They went to bed after darkness, slept for several hours, woke during the middle of the night, remained awake for a while, and then returned to sleep until morning. This period between sleeps was not automatically treated as a medical emergency. People used it to pray, talk, check animals, tend the fire, visit neighbors, think, write, or spend private time with a partner. It was simply another part of the night. Today, waking at 3 in the morning can feel like a personal failure. You open your eyes, see the clock, calculate how tired you will be tomorrow, and immediately make yourself more awake. Then your mind begins reviewing every embarrassing thing you have done since primary school. But waking during the night does not always mean your body has forgotten how to sleep. Human sleep is flexible. What changed dramatically was the social system around it. Industrial life demanded precise arrival times, long shifts, artificial lighting, and synchronized schedules. Clocks became more important. Factories could not wait for every worker to finish a peaceful second sleep. Over time, people were pushed toward one compressed block of rest that fit between evening obligations and morning work. The modern bedroom may be safer than any prehistoric campsite, but the nervous system inside it is still carrying ancient expectations. That helps explain why certain sounds and situations feel unusually comforting. Rain can make a room feel protected and enclosed. In the distant past, heavy rain could reduce visibility, mask scent, and change animal movement. Sleeping near trusted people still feels safer because, for most of human history, isolation at night was dangerous. Total silence can feel unsettling because a silent environment offers no information. A crackling fire, breathing companion, distant storm, or soft background sound tells the brain that the world is still there. Artificial light creates the opposite problem. Bright screens late at night send a daytime signal to a brain that evolved under the sun. Blue-rich light can delay the release of melatonin and make sleep harder. Your body sees midnight. Your eyes report noon. Then you wonder why your brain refuses to shut down, and then there are dreams. Imagine living tens of thousands of years ago with no concept of REM sleep, memory processing, or brain chemistry. Every night you enter a world where impossible things happen. Dead relatives speak. Animals become people. People become animals. You travel across landscapes that vanish when you wake. Sometimes a dream feels more intense than ordinary life. Without modern explanations, dreams would not seem like meaningless mental noise. They could feel like messages, warnings, journeys, or contact with another world. It makes sense that so many cultures treated dreams as spiritually important. The boundary between sleeping experience and waking reality may have felt much thinner than it does today. Here is the strange contradiction. Our ancestors lived with injury, hunger, weather, infection, predators, and conflict. They had no locked doors, air conditioning, blackout curtains, medical help, or memory foam. Yet their sleep was closely tied to darkness, temperature, group activity, and natural rhythms. We have stronger walls, softer beds, quieter rooms, and fewer animals trying to eat us. We can control the temperature, play ocean sounds, track our sleep with a watch, and order a new pillow without leaving the house. Still, millions of us lie awake under perfect blankets, staring at a glowing rectangle. Exhausted but unwilling to stop scrolling. The prehistoric night was dangerous because the darkness hid predators. The modern night is dangerous because the screen never ends. And somewhere beneath your notifications, deadlines, and late night thoughts, your Stone Age brain is still waiting for the fire, the group, and the signal that it is finally safe to sleep.